Very neat. And you have any fun stories working on Dolph and Bruce Willis and DMX's various projects?
Oh my God. So many. I shot the movie with DMX. I'm so bummed that he passed away. I just, met him only like once in my life. And I felt like, I'm gonna do more projects with him. He was an amazing performer. And then now he's not here. But it was great to work on that movie regardless. And of course I'm so grateful that it was his last movie that I worked on. And I was a part of it somehow. Fast Vengeance. Yeah, check it out. On Tubi. It's available. Loved working with Gary Teo, the director. It was great. It was wonderful. Unfortunately, I didn't have any scenes with DMX, but I've heard he was a wonderful person as an actor as well. So very, very, very grounded, very down to earth. And, I thought he had a long career ahead of him, but unfortunately that's not the case. Bruce Willis was wonderful. Again, didn't have any scenes with him. I'm still waiting, hoping that, I did 2 movies with Bruce Willis and I didn't have a single scene with him.
Yeah, those are just Fortress films. But so what about the premise appealed to you?
Which one, sorry?
The Fortress films. What was it about the premise that stood out?
The Fortress. Number one, it was shot in Puerto Rico. Who wouldn't want to go to Puerto Rico to work with Bruce Willis, on a Bruce Willis movie? It was a beautiful location. The Fortress itself, the film it's so bright. It's so colorful. It has a interesting premise, this fortress these guys try to get into. It's completely closed off. And they're hiding something, and it's a beautiful set on an island kind of movie. So I definitely encourage people to check it out. And working with James, my friend, who's a wonderful director. Thanks for hiring me. I'm always happy when friends hire friends, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to do the same for you. I try to work with my friends a lot too.
Totally. And you got the Comeback Trail coming out soon. It's like a movie within a movie.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that movie for a long time, but pandemic happened, and unfortunately, still waiting for that to come out. The Fortress is out, but the Fortress, the second part, is also coming out soon. The Fortress Sniper's Eye, which I have a small part in that because my character returns. That's with Bruce Willis. Yeah, check that one out. Got a bunch of films, yeah.
So. The Enforcer with Antonio Banderas and Kate Bosworth. How was that?
Yeah, Banderas. Kate Bosworth is wonderful. She was amazing. I was so stunned with her acting. I mean, she completely transformed. I can't wait for you guys to see her part in that. I don't think you've ever seen her like that before. And then Antonio he's a mentor. He's amazing. He's one of those guys that I've watched, when I was younger. And of course I was always dreaming to work with him and get to know him and hear his stories. And now it happened. It feels surreal to work with such an amazing and wonderful actor. He's like a true performer. He's amazing at what he does. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. He gives 110%. And it's always something different. So I can't wait for you to see The Enforcer. He's mind-blowing in it. Very different.
Totally. Both that and your recent film Vanish, which had some decent reviews and just premiered on Lifetime, kind of take a big crack at the criminal underworld. What do you think it is about that just makes it fascinating to audiences to just see a Taken or Man on Fire type, revenge storyline?
Man on Fire. I think with Vanished, what fascinates the audience and why they keep coming back to watching, movies like that, especially on Lifetime, is because they're based on true stories or true events. And I think that always thrills people more than just the fiction, story or something that people come up with.
True crime, kind of.
Yeah, true crime, exactly. I think, I'm definitely more drawn to that. I'm always watching films that are based on true stories, and I'm like, oh my God, true crimes. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that actually happened. So I read that script and I was like, oh, I definitely want to be a part of it. I mean, a sister, goes missing, and then the other one pretends to be her to find what actually happened with her. I mean, I was like, hell yes. I mean, I didn't know what actually happened until I went back to read the story. And of course, they changed it a little bit, they modified the script. But overall, those kind of things happen in real life. And I was just shocked that, that people go through that. And I want to know, like, what actually goes on and what happens and what actually, how this story ended. So I'm definitely, I was excited to be a part of that project. And I think the film is really, really good. So Bannister, on Lifetime. It was, I mean, it's beautifully shot and very nice story. Tatiana Ali did wonderful playing, twin sisters, both characters. I mean, that's always a tough part for an actor to come in and just play both parts and separate themselves and kind of like remember who you are. That's challenging, and especially when you have tight schedule and you have to do it really fast. You just have to commit and hope that you have portrayed those sisters, and stay true to what the story was supposed to be like. So
totally. So now that you've been able to work with plenty of people who you admire, as well as just encounter different personas, how would you describe the art of just staging, again, an acting scene, and just, everyone's giving their take on how to proceed and try out different takes?
I guess in movies, it depends on who you're working with. The director, it depends on the director. The directors either give the actors permission and tell you, hey, show me what you've come up with. Show me the character that you've created. Let me see the scene first. That's kind of like what I've been working. That's kind of like the directors that I like to work with, when they give an actor, that freedom, possibility to first showcase what they've actually done to that character and to the scene. And then a director kind of just goes around and molds it to what he wants it to be, or she, and they come up to us and they tell us, look, why don't you try this a little bit, slightly different. And then somehow this, whatever words on paper we all read, it somehow becomes this, this scene within a movie that afterwards another scene. And then I feel like in the edit room, then the script that we read becomes then a completely, again, another kind of story, because then an editor comes in and works on something to actually make it all one and flow as one, and actually tell the story that the director really, really wanted to show. So for us actors, I think the most important part is just to work on our creation, work on our characters, make bold choices, and then come in and show it to the director. And then the director kind of just guides us in and directs us and takes out of us exactly what it is that he wants to see on screen.
Okay, very stellar. Anyone left to work with that you think you might likely have a chance to encounter them on a set in the future?
There's so many. James Cameron. I'd love to work with him. There's so many directors that I really, really want to work with. The actors as well. I'd still love to work with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, of course, my icons. And even though I supposedly worked with Robert De Niro already in the movie The Comeback Trail, but again, I didn't have any scenes with him, so still hoping one day that I would actually share a scene with him and learn, from those icons, learn from those amazing actors. And lots of directors that, there are just so many. Of course, like Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. Lots of different shows that I want to be a part of. So, yeah.
How did you get the contact to enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or no, the DC universe with Black Adam?
Yeah. I auditioned for it and I booked it. I was so thrilled. I worked in Atlanta, Georgia on Black Adam with The Rock. Can't wait for that movie to come. It's going to be epic. It's going to be huge. I auditioned for it, got the part. can't really say a lot about my part or the movie or the filming yet, but I'm so excited for it to come out. Can't wait. And I think the DC universe, I mean, I respect, Marvel, of course. All their movies are just huge and amazing and thrilling to watch. But the DC, I think, is out there too. Like, I just watched Batman, and I was shocked. I think it's by far my favorite Batman ever. It was amazing. Have you seen it?
I have not yet, but I will.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to watch it. It's amazing. I was blown away.
Very nice.
It's exactly what I imagined Batman to be, and the universe and that world and the character. Like, it's wonderful. Yeah, it's amazing.
Very nice. And you also got.
I hope I can work with all those wonderful directors one day myself, of course, like Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino. All those guys are just, my dream come true. Like Christopher Nolan, everything.
Okay, pick some more brains in Hollywood. You'll get there.
Yeah.
So you also got the spaghetti western tribute, No Name and Dynamite Davenport coming out. Any details you're allowed to say about that one?
It's out. It just came out recently. It's called No Name and Dynamite. It's out on Amazon Prime. So
okay.
Just came out, I think, like last week. My character's name is Pearl. Loved working on that. It was a comedy, kind of like spaghetti western. Funny, over the top, kind of like western take on that genre. It's really cool. It was fun to work with. Again, horses, horses, guns, shooting, fighting, and just that whole world. It was a dream come true. I never even imagined myself to be in a western like that, and all of a sudden I am. I was like, wow. It was nice. Cool. Yeah.
And so, since you're no stranger to riding horses and doing gunplay, was it just kind of second nature at that point?
It's always challenging with horses, just because it's always a brand new horse you're working with. So even though like I have a lot of experience riding horses, I don't I don't jump, like I don't do big jumps myself, but I can gallop and do kind of small tricks on it and stuff. But it's challenging because they don't always allow the actors to do it themselves. Just because you're not really familiar with that horse when they give it to you, so you kind of have to ride it at first, get to know it. And it's always sad that you really get to know that horse like almost the last days of filming, and then you're kind of done and you're like, oh my god, I just got to know my horse and I got attached to it, and we're like almost best friends now, and the horse knows me, and it's always sad to leave an animal behind. Like I love animals in general, and anytime like I spend time with any kind of animal, I'm in love with them, and it's always so hard for me to leave them. Like I'm too emotional when it comes to animals. Like I actually cannot watch any movie when it comes to like animals. I cry no matter what it is. I'm always sad. I could save every single animal. I would, and I'd be like, oh, can I keep it? Can I be with this animal? Like, I just feel like there's so much more, I don't know, in tuned with our emotions. They're like, it's almost like they understand us way more than people. People like hide, their true feelings, and animals are just so much more open. And I'm just like, I feel them. I feel them so much. I might have been an animal in my previous life or something. I don't know.
Oh, nice. There you go. You could do a movie on reincarnation, or just some other spiritual thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, very nice. Anything else you want to plug?
No, I'm so happy we finally did this. We've been planning to do this for a while. Thank you for having me again. Check out obviously, follow me on Instagram. You can take a look at a lot of stuff that I'm doing. I try to post as much as I can on it, update my life and where I'm at in the world and what I'm doing. It's Natalie underscore Burn on Instagram, and Natalie Burn 01 on Twitter. I try to tweet, not as much as should.
Tweets.
Yeah. Facebook is Natalie Burn, official. Yeah, just kind of follow me, guys, and I'm just gonna. I hope I'm gonna promote myself and showcase more stuff so that you can follow me and see what else is going on in my life.
Very cool. Any final?
I feel bad for posting anything right now, like even positive, because of what's happening in the world. I'm just like completely bummed. I've been like for a couple of weeks, like I've been staring at a ceiling, trying to tell myself it's okay. Like you still have to work, you still have to do stuff, because I'm shocked about what's happening in my country right now. So
yeah. Any final words of inspiration you want to just kind of share with the world?
I mean, just go out there and do exactly what you want to do. Don't wait, because time flies so. You think you've got tomorrow, you're wrong. Tomorrow comes, and then and then you still are sitting waiting. It's just I feel like it's just we don't have enough time, and we don't have enough time. So if you have dreams that you want to accomplish, don't just dream, just go out there and make them happen.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
Run all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Tonight, guys, we got actress and producer Natalie Burn, an exclusive interview.
Yay.
Credits include Joe Dante's Trail of Blood,
Nice.
Awaken, Expendables Free, Mechanic 2, Comeback Trail, and we'll be starring in The Enforcer with Antonio Banderas and Black Adam with The Rock. So, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Pretty good. So, first off,
thank you for having me. Super excited about the exclusive interview.
Totally.
Yeah.
So when did the acting bug just first arrive? When did you that first ignite in your realm of creativity and you decided, nope, I'm going to jump into that realm?
Oh my God. I think the first time I wanted to become an actor, was when I was very little, when I first, saw my first movies. And funny enough, like one of the first movies I saw was Alien.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was freaking out because I caught it on TV and she was like, oh my God, you're going to have nightmares. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I totally was so in love with the cinematography and the visuals and acting, and of course the power strong female like Sigourney Weaver. And I was like, oh my God, I totally want to be her and I want to be there. And ever since then, I've just been drawn to like cinema and movies and TV and just being on screen and sharing, you know, that experience with the world and making the audience feel different things and hopefully making changes through, you know, through our movies, through our work. So I was very young when I first saw that movie. And like I said, I never finished it back then because my mom would constantly turn the TV off and she'd be scared.
Very controlling.
I mean, at some point she literally thought that I need to see a psychiatrist because I was like obsessed with horror movies after that. I just really wanted to see all kinds of like monsters. And I like, she was like, oh, you're going to have nightmares. And I was like, really? I will? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that'd be great. And she's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, I wanted to sleep in a pitch black room, you know, turn off every single sound distraction, be in a very quiet room, pitch black, like completely close all the curtains, the doors. I'd be like, don't keep any lights on in my rooms, you know, just close the door, go to sleep. And I was waiting for those horror dreams to come in because I wasn't allowed to watch TV. So I was like, the only kind of like crazy, I guess, movies that I can see are in my dreams, in my sleep. So I was always so excited when I had horror movies in my dreams and crazy, you know, visuals come to me. And I thought, oh, if there's an actual monster under the bed, that I would look under the bed and I'll be like, where is it? Where's the monster?
Where's the monster? Want to check it out?
Yeah, but I was addicted to the fantasy world, you know, to that kind of to those kind of like crazy, you know, different images and stuff. So I was like, oh, I definitely want to act. So that was my first love with cinema. Then I saw all kinds of other movies, of course, that later on just drew me even more towards the filmmaking. But when I first finally decided, I took a stand with my mom and my family. I mean, she helped me afterwards. She guided me a lot in my career and in my life. So thanks to her, I actually am an actor now. Because she finally was like, all right, I guess you're gonna have to try out now, finally. And that was after I got injured because I was a dancer. So I got injured as a dancer. And you know, we kind of saw this ad while we were sitting on an underground in London where I lived at a time because I graduated from the Royal Ballet School in London. So I was all proper prima ballerina since I was 3. That was my life path, you know, and I've taken it in and I was like, I guess I'm not going to be an actor, or maybe one day, you know. And so finally when I got injured, not finally, sadly, you know, when I got injured, I was like, I had to do something else. And my mom was like, well, would you like to try it out? And I was like, yes. And I actually, you know, like took a couple of like two monologues, auditioned for American Academy of Dramatic Arts here in Los Angeles, and I got in. It was my first, you know, school that I attended as a trial out to see if I even had any kind of, you know, I guess if I was even born with any talent to be an actor. So finally, that's when I moved here to LA, and I just decided to stay. That was a long time. It's more than 10 years ago. But then I kind of like left again. I went back to live in London again. I traveled the world. I lived all over the world, to be honest. I'm a world traveler, which kind of helps a lot, I think, creating characters and you know, learning about different nationalities, about different upbringings. You kind of you have a broad understanding of, you know, people's lives and how they are.
Totally. Who was your acting coach?
My acting coach that I miss him so much is Martin Landau.
Wow. He was your mentor. Okay.
He was my mentor. He was my acting coach. He was amazing. When I came to my first, you know, school that I attended was the summer program of at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Hollywood. And then after that, I decided to stay and pursue my acting and my studying. And I went to Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute. And then shortly after, I accidentally auditioned for the Actors Studio. And that's when Martin Landau saw me first time and kind of like said, you know, I think you have a talent. And I was like, oh my God. And I think that was the first time I realized that I think I can be an actor. I think I'm going to do this. So yeah. So then I'm a member of the Actor Studio now, and he guided me throughout the years and helped me, become who I am today, and taught me so many different things. But unfortunately, he passed away last year, which was a very dramatic experience for me. But life goes on, and we got to do what we got to do. So I still hear all of his notes and all of his suggestions, and
his voice still resonates. Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was so sad when he was gone. Like, the Actor Studio will never be the same without him.
Perfect. So you had the right amount of just upbringing and passion flowing through your veins. Who would you describe as your icons you kind of grew up admiring and saying, man, I want to work with these guys somewhere along the way, or I want to be like them, kind of?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Just two randoms.
Well, Meryl Streep. I think she's just a phenomenal, obviously, actor who I'd love to work with. And I go back to all of her movies all the time, and I just watch and see how she portrays them, how she turns into them, how she becomes them. I think she's a pure example of a blank canvas kind of actor, kind of person who comes in, takes a script, she breaks it down, and then she just becomes the person that's on that paper. She not only connects with part of herself, but also creates this magnificent character that ends up living on screen, and it's something that you look at and you're like, oh my God, it feels like it's a completely brand new Meryl Streep altogether, a brand new person. So I would have to say Meryl Streep, and probably Gary Oldman. That's another
Okay.
I admire a lot. I almost worked with Gary Oldman. Unfortunately, our movie fell apart. So maybe one day I will still get a chance to work with him, because I love his characters. I love his dedication. I admire people that take bold choices in their careers and take on roles that challenge them. I think it's very encouraging, and it's difficult. I know as myself being an actor, I know how frustrating or how nerve-wracking or how painful, how hurtful it can be to go that deep sometimes to connect with those characters, and people that are not afraid to do so. I'm always blown away, and I always feel like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to challenge myself like that, and I want to take on roles like that.
Totally. What do you think has been your challenging role so far, especially after working with the likes of Gianni Capaldi, Timothy Woodward Jr., Dolph Lundgren, and Millennium Films Productions?
Oh my God, you named such random names.
Big key names. You've done at least 5 projects with each of them.
Oh my God, Johnny is really funny. He's great. He's an amazing person. Love his whole family, his wife, his kids. Just a beautiful person. And Timothy, I worked with him on several projects. Great guy, amazing director, very dedicated, opinionated, which is, I think, good and bad. But as a director, I think it's very important to have your own vision. You kind of like define yourself, and you know exactly what you want to create. So that kind of helps us as actors understand somebody like him better. Millennium is amazing distributor production company that makes so many beautiful movies that we've all watched over the years, and loved working with them, of course. I don't know if I have gotten that part or that role that I am yet to be so proud of, where I would say, you know what, this is it. I've reached I've reached that goal, that role that I've been chasing all these years. So I'm still.
Would you say they're all challenging, though? I mean, at least meeting that criteria.
One way, yeah. I think I love challenging roles. That's the thing, and the more challenging it is, the less work I put in. It's really funny. I find more difficult roles for me are the ones that are simple ones, the ones that are very similar to who I am. I find those very difficult to portray, because I think I'm just always thinking like, oh, I got it. It's practically me. I don't have to do the work. And it's funny because those are the ones that require even more work. So, and it's something actually Martin Landau told us. He said that the most difficult, characters for us to play as actors are the ones that are very similar to us, because we tend to get away from playing us. We end up in this industry so we can portray somebody else, somebody that we're not, so to play ourselves, or to play somebody that's similar to us, or that goes through a similar pain, it's always challenging. So I'd say one of the parts that I had not difficulties, but I think the most was a little challenging for me, it was Studio City, the TV show, the TV series that I just worked on with Timothy Woodward Jr. that's coming out, I think, next week, and it's season 2, and I have a very interesting character. I come back as Shelby Brock, playing this actress opposite Sean Kanan, wonderful friend of mine, great actor. And I think you'll have to watch it to see what I mean, but it was challenging dramatically to tap into.
What network is it on?
Huh? I'm sorry?
What network is it coming out on?
Oh, it's going to be on Amazon Prime. So
Okay.
check it out. Yeah, I'm in season 1 as well. I was just a guest star in season 1, and now one of the I guess main characters. I have a much bigger part. So and I'm grateful for given this opportunity to create a character like that and actually to portray somebody like that. But it was definitely challenging emotionally to tap into somebody like that. And once you watch the show and see my character, I think you'll understand what I mean. As far as physical challenges, I think it's one of those characters that I'm actually still working on. We're in a process of filming. It's a medieval movie that I'm filming in Italy, in Sicily. Working with a director called John Reel, and the movie's called The Last Redemption. It's physically challenging because we're always on the horseback riding. You never know what the horse is gonna
You're working with a director you worked with before, John Reel?
I worked with John Reel before in a movie called Obsessio. I'm actually kind of proud of that movie. It's also very dramatically challenging. It was a fun little film to work on. I enjoyed that very much. But this The Last Redemption is physically challenging because I get to ride horses. I use swords, fighting. The weather conditions they were really tough because we shot on the snow. Then it was raining. And I do a lot of my own stunts. I do a lot of my film fighting. So, physically it was challenging, but again, like I love physical challenges because I was a ballerina since I was 3. So there's nothing that I feel like I cannot do. I'm always drawn to parts like that. The more difficult it is, the more curious I am. Kind of a wild child where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh yeah, I can do this. Oh yeah, I can figure this one out. Oh, I want to study this. Oh, I want to learn this. Like I love learning new things, whether it's physical or just, about people, about characters, about emotional arcs, whatever it is. Like, I'm like, yeah, bring it on. I want to know it all.
Totally.
Yeah, one of those things that I love traveling the world. Like I said, I've lived in all kinds of different cities, and it helps me connect with other parts of the world, other parts of people. And I think it broadens my knowledge about, what the whole world is about. There's so many more things, to learn. And I think that's how we, broaden our minds, and we open our minds to different things and different opportunities.
Totally. And you got your citizenship for the States here in the U.S. in 2018. Do you have any kind words for any fellow Ukrainians out there who...
I'm a proud American now. I've always wanted to live in the United States. So when I first came here, that was my goal. I was just like, you know what, I want to be here. I want to live here. I want to be an American. And I'm so excited to finally, be acknowledged as an American, and I'm definitely a proud American. So in terms of Ukraine, I mean, it's definitely devastating and sad what's happening. I still have family out there. I talk to them every day. They're safe for now, but everybody is just shocked about how this whole war just fell upon us, and now we just have to deal with it. It's crazy.
Indeed. And what do you think has been your favorite of the genres to do? Because, I mean, you started out doing a lot of dating comedies and horror movies, and now you kind of just become the action gal. You're starting a lot of action adventure nowadays.
I love action, again, because it just challenges me physically. And it's such an interesting genre, all over the world. People just love watching it. But I also love horror. Like, I think there's a huge audience for horror. It's almost like I'm tapped. There's so many things you can do, and so many things you can write and showcase. So I mean, I'm like torn apart, like between what my favorite genre is and what it is that I want to do more of. I think
you want a slice of the whole pie. Just
I kind of pick now roles that I really, really want to portray as an actor. So the character is probably an important part for me in the script, in the story. I really have to love the character. It doesn't matter what genre it is, whether it's comedy, drama, horror or action or thriller. It's got to be somebody that I want to play, that I want to dive my whole existence in and kind of like live for the next couple of months. Because honestly, like, the time flies by so much faster nowadays. I feel like after pandemic, especially like these couple of years, I don't even know where they went. I'm turning around, I'm like, oh my God, it's 2022 right now. What happened?
How did we get here?
So I just want to make sure that I pick projects that I really, really want to do. Because like, it's just, time flies right now, and it's just so important to do what you love to do most, and to stay true to yourself.
By all means. What was it like working on the Luke Goss movie, Hollow Point, where you play one of the detectives?
Hollow Point was great. I love Luke Goss. He's a good person. I mean, good actor. Daniel's really directed that movie. I love playing a detective. It was very interesting. It was one of my first roles as a detective. After that, I had played a couple more. I'm definitely interested in doing more detective roles, because they're so, I feel like there's so many things that you can do with that. But yet they're like very real and very grounded. So it was nice to work on that movie, to understand myself more, that I was like, oh, okay, so I don't have to be crazy, or out there, creating something over the top, characters, where I could just still be grounded and still have this person that means something to me. So I learned a lot about myself playing that part.
Okay, very stellar. Thank you ever so much for taking an hour of your time.
Thank you.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up